Warning: the following video contains explicit language which may be offensive to some viewers or inappropriate for children. The content within this video is intended for mature audiences only.
Disclaimer. The views and opinions expressed in this video are those of my own and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any other person or group of people. They do not purport to reflect the opinions or views of any group of people, person, or fanbase or its members. This video and the presentation of material therein do not imply the expression of any opinion other than mine.
Hello and welcome to this video. This video was inspired by me scrolling through different videos on different platforms in which AI speech was used. So I sat down and I wrote something out. Then I went to the TTS Maker text-to-voice site, had it make me a voice reading of it, and I threw some images on it, and boom, I got a video. What I'm going to be talking about is something I wrote a while back on the 2020 Stephen King miniseries for The Stand. And I took that, it came out to be about a little over 6-minute audio file. I took that, dropped it in my video editor, just dropped a bunch of random pics that I found floating around my hard drive and the internet. They're in a random order. They make no sense compared to the dialogue. I was just doing this kind of a proof of concept, and it worked out pretty good, so I figured I'd share it. So let's get on to it.
After reading The Stand by Stephen King, I spent 2 days watching The Stand's 9-episode miniseries from 2020. To be upfront with everyone, I enjoyed it. I will warn you that when I start comparing the series to the source material, it will seem that I disliked the series. There are 2 reasons for this. One is that King's novels do not translate well into film or TV. The second is that I am a reader, and will most of the time default to the book as the better of the 2 mediums. Yes, that is my own bias. So keep that in mind while enjoying this video. Do understand that I did enjoy the series, and will watch it again. The casting was much better than I expected. Many of the actors did not look like their counterparts as King described them in the book. However, the actors embodied the spirit of the character they were playing. Brad William Hankey as Tom Cullen and Owen Teague as Harold Lauder are the top 2 standouts to this. Hankey's Tom Cullen voice is how I heard Tom in my mind while reading the novel. Teague's Harold was just as creepy as the Harold in the novel. Now on to Whoopi Goldberg as Mother Abigail and Alexander Skarsgård as Randall Flagg. In my opinion, both of these roles were spot on. Goldberg made you believe that she was 108 years old. I am not sure there is an actress out in the world that could have done the job that she did. I was riveted by her performance when Mother Abigail was on her deathbed. That was some next-level acting. Skarsgård's Randall Flagg almost lined up almost perfectly with how I pictured Flagg in my mind. Both in The Stand and in the Dark Tower books, the first episode starts around chapter 60 of the book. It uses flashbacks to fill the viewer in the first part of the book. As much as I did not care for this approach, I understand why it was done for a live-action version of the novel. The thing that put me off about the flashbacks was the fact they had no rhyme or reason when they popped up. Most of them were jarring at best. What you got in the flashbacks was well done and worked within the limitations of a mini-series. I think that better segues could have been when going into the flashbacks. King does a wonderful job of this for the flashbacks in the novel. Also, the fact that in the mini-series we never get the backstory of Joe. We never find out that his real name is Leo Rockway and that Joe is simply what Nadine Cross called him due to Leo being verbally non-communicative when she came across him. Also in the series, the fact that Joe/Leo has the shine or touch is only hinted at. In the novel, there are several times that Larry Underwood makes choices based on how Joe/Lo is acting or saying. I also missed the character of Lucy Swan in the mini-series. Lucy was in the mini-series, but her role was cut way back. She is one of the best supporting characters in the novel. I have to pause for a moment and talk about something great in the novel, but was good to have been left out of the mini-series. That is the backstory for Glenn Bateman's dog, Kojak. This would have slowed down the series and did not move the story forward. Yes, I am saying that as much as I enjoyed the pages that King dedicated to Kojak's backstory, and reminded me a bit of Oi from the Dark Tower series, I am glad they did not try to force it into the series. The character of Donald Merwin Elbert aka the Trashcan Man is so underplayed in the series that it almost hurt. I have mixed feelings about how he was portrayed in the series. Trashcan is a minor character for most of the story. He does play a huge role near the end of the story. I did not care for the leaving out of how Trashcan started the ball rolling in Flag's loss of control of New Vegas. I somehow think that Ezra Miller as Trashcan was very fitting, along with Amber Heard as Nadine Cross. If you know you know. The next thing I am going to talk about is how Flag's leadership of New Vegas in the book and series are different. The novel Flag's New Vegas is something right out of Joseph Stalin's Soviet Union. No drug use, limited alcohol consumption, hard work, and fear. A lot of fear. There is a passage where one of Flag's inner circle is crucified for using drugs. In the series, New Vegas is portrayed as a hedonistic utopia with sex and drugs everywhere. In the series, Flag's right-hand man Lloyd Henreid is seen several times using drugs. I am not too put out by this, because the series is trying to cast a large net as far as viewership goes. It would be stupid to expect the majority of the American populace to understand the subtle differences between a free society and a well-oiled authoritarian dictatorship. So the producers of the series went with the low-hanging fruit. It was more than likely a good call to portray New Vegas in the light they did in the series. Now on to my thoughts on Tom Cullen. Tom is a 42-year-old illiterate and mentally handicapped man with a big heart. He like Joe/Leo has the shine or touch. In both the novel and the series he is fleshed out pretty well. However, in the series, his escape from New Vegas is changed. It came across as rushed and an afterthought. In the book, his escape is very much what you would want to happen to Tom. He simply rides off on his 10-speed bike and with help from the ghost of Nick Andrus, he makes it far enough to save Stu Redman. As much as I would have loved to see the events after Tom finds Stu and their trip back to Boulder, Colorado, I understand that would have been an extra episode or two. From what I have seen online, Stephen King himself wrote the last episode. It was based on the original epilogue he had written for the book, but for reason that I could not find it was left out. If this is true, I would love to someday read the epilogue that King wrote. All in all, this is a pretty well done interpretation of a King novel. Not as good as the mini-series for King's novel The Outsider, but good all the same. If you enjoyed the novel, this is a pretty good mini-series to check out.
Hey, it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?